So let me just get nice and comfortable here. Welcome back, guys. Today we're talking about the books that I want to read this year. So basically I have a reading list on Goodreads, and I mean I definitely haven't added every book that I want to read onto it. So actually while I was doing this, some books kind of came into my mind that weren't on my reading list. So I was like, I've been meaning to read that for years, or I've been meaning to try this author for years, but I decided to do 10. And just to keep myself not accountable, because I'm never going to pressurise myself to read a book if I don't feel like it. I'm very much a mood reader. We'll start off really simply, which is a book that I've had since it came out and haven't read yet because I haven't got in the mood for it yet. A busy Christmas, and that is Sally Rooney Intermezzo. I've heard mixed things. I've heard people saying it's their favourite Sally Rooney. I've heard people saying they really liked it but didn't love it. However, I think I'm going to like this better than Beautiful World Worry. But let's see. Beautiful World Worry. Yeah, that's what it's called. Again, I don't need to go into big detail here. This needs to be read this year, and it will probably be read sooner rather than later. This book, I remember, I think it was my sister or my brother or somebody mentioned it years ago to me, and as in that it was amazing. And I think it was my sister read it first, she told my brother to read it, and then my mum read it, and they all absolutely loved it. And then somebody mentioned it to me like last year. Oh, have you heard about this book? I was like, God, I've heard of that somewhere. Why do I know that book? Then of course I mentioned it to my family. They were like, yeah, that's it. Anyway, so this is called Don't Sleep There Are Snakes by Daniel L. Everett. It's a non-fiction book about a Christian missionary who goes to an Amazonian tribe and with his family, I believe, and he goes there with the aim to convert them to Christianity, and ends up finding this amazing kind of he's a linguist first, but he finds out, I don't really know, but something to do with their languages there and how astounding it is and the way that they communicate and stuff like that. But apparently it's just amazing. Don't Sleep There Are Snakes, Daniel L. Everett. I'm really excited about that one. Next book I have here, next author, sorry, should I say, that I have is Toni Morrison. I know you're going to be like, what do you mean you haven't read any Toni Morrison? Yes, I have not read any Toni Morrison. I can't believe it. She has been on my list for forever. Toni Morrison, and the first one I'll probably read is I've got Beloved and Sula on my list. I think Sula, the book that I'm more drawn to. And so Toni Morrison this year, whether that is whatever book it is, it's likely going to be Sula. And maybe another book after that, who knows? Maybe I absolutely fall in love, which I probably will. Okay, so next one is quite a simple little one, and that is one of the next, either both of them or definitely the next in the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett, the Encyclopedia Fairies one. I've really enjoyed that coziness, the first one, and I just want to read that. It's a physical version of it, and it's called Time's Arrow by Martin Amis. Okay. This book I'd never heard of it before. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it before, however I had not. Now, it was, I think, written in 1992, and a co-worker, we were just talking about books in general, and she said this is one of the books that she's read over and over again and has stuck with her from when she read it years and years and years ago. Let's just read the back, or a little bit of the back. Todd T. Friendly is living his life backwards. Oh, that's really funny, because obviously I'm reading Una out of order at the minute, and she's living her life out of order. Anyway, Dr. Friendly has just died, but after weeks of improving in the hospital, he is sent home to his affable melting pot primary colour existence in suburban America. From the fresh-cut lawns of his retirement to the hustle of New York and then the boat back to the war-torn Europe, Friendly carries with him a secret. Trapped in his body from grave to cradle, Friendly's consciousness can only watch as he struggles to make sense of the good doctor's most ambitious project yet, the final solution. That really gave us nothing at all, right? That really gave us nothing at all. So I'm going to be going into this book pretty blind. Okay, that's the next one. Oh yes, so the next I have here is a Stephen King book. Now, this is just a known thing for me. Like, it's just something that's always on my list every year. So every time, I've mentioned before, every time I go on holidays, I will read a Stephen King book, and I really like to read them on holidays. It's become a bit of a tradition for me now, and Stephen King's books are so plot heavy and so dense and so much information and such a good piece of fiction. Like, they're just such a book you can get your teeth into, that I just love reading them on holidays. And I don't know which one it will be, but I will be reading Stephen King this year. Author that I want to try to read this year that has always, you know, those authors that you hear about, you go, I'm almost 90% sure I'm going to absolutely love these books. Why haven't I picked them up yet? Why haven't I picked up one of their books yet? It's totally what I kind of like, and I can imagine absolutely loving it. Why have I not taken the plunge yet? Why am I so hesitant to pick up their books? And I don't have the answer for you, but it's any Kristen Hanna books. And I've had a bit of historical fiction I used to read a lot more historical fiction, and I love it, but it's been a while since I've delved back into that world. So I am going to read a Kristen Hanna book this year. Watch this space. I need to read 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I'm sure you've all heard of this book. It's a very, very famous novel. I have wanted to read it for a very long time, and it's sitting in my parents' bookshelves, and every time I go home I always see it and I'm like, oh, I need to read that. But then it looks like such a nice edition of it that I say to myself, I can't take that, I need to get it myself. So I think I just need to go to the library, because I don't want to ruin that book. And I think I'll really like it. Everyone who I know who has read it, my family, says I love it. So again, it's another one that's been on my to read for a very long time. It's been something I've thought about loads of times, especially when I go home and I see it there on the shelf and I go, Maureen, you need to read this book, you need to read this book. I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but it's on the list for 2025. Guys, I want to read more Russian writers. And by my Russian writers, I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a noob, or I'm a bit green. I don't really know any others other than Tolstoy, Dostoevsky. I read White Nights at the end of last year and loved it. It was such a short book, and I think it was a great introduction for me to see if I would like, well, that was just Dostoevsky, but to see if I would like his style of writing, because the rest of the books, I mean, there are some other short stories, but I definitely want to read one of the bigger books now. Russian writers, I know I like them, but I know I like Dostoevsky, so it's on my list for this year, and we'll see which one it is and which author it is. Okay. Final author I want to read in this year, I'm not sure what book of theirs yet, is James Joyce, because we haven't read any James Joyce, and that is a bit of a shame since I'm Irish. I remember trying to read Ulysses back when I was like 17, 18, trying to be cool, you know. I literally opened the first page and I was like, I can't read this. In my brain, I was like, nope, it's not going in. And since then, I have not picked up any more James Joyce. My brother loves Ulysses. I'm like, how would you love that book? Look, granted, I have not looked at it or tried to read it since I was 17. And maybe now that I'm older, I would enjoy it and be able to understand it more. But at the time, it just felt confusing to me. I think I got to page 2. So my plan is to read Dubliners. That's the book I want to try and start my James Joyce, and maybe I'll like him, maybe I won't, but I do want to try read one of his books this year, and I don't think it's going to be Ulysses first, sorry bro, it's going to be Dubliners. That is the list of the books that I'm going to read way more books than obviously these 10 and these authors and these books, but these are the ones that if I'm going to pick a book and I'm not sure, I need to come back to this list, because they're books that I've thought about loads of times. They're authors I've thought about reading many, many times. So obviously my brain, you know, I know what I like. So listen to yourself, Maureen, and maybe just don't go for the easy book and the easy win, or, oh yeah, that'd be better, I'll just read that, or read a thriller, and try challenge myself in my reading a bit more. I feel I can become quite complacent in my reading. I know what I like, I know what I will get through easily, I know what things I won't struggle with, and I know what my brain like can take, as in I think I need to try read some books that not open my mind more, but maybe just, well, I guess they do. I feel like fiction does do that. Just books that maybe might challenge me a little more, and you know, because reading for me is such an enjoyable task, and don't get me wrong, 90% of the time it's still going to be that enjoyable switch off, getting into bed and absolutely loving it, but I feel I need to step it up a notch and expand my horizons when it comes to different authors. Anyway guys, I will see you on the next video vlog. It'll be a vlog, and let me know if you've read any of these books and if you think I like them, if you think I'll hate them, if you want to read any of these, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.